Hello. So today we're doing something a bit different. I know that usually on these streams what we've been doing is we've been playing Commander together. But I actually don't think that makes for a very good stream, unfortunately. I would like to do that, and we will have to find a way to do that. But I don't think streaming is what I'm looking for. Which is unfortunate, because I think that would be good. But it's not really working. So what we're gonna do instead is today we're gonna just hang out, right? So like, here's the problem. Let me maybe like phrase the problem a bit first. One of the issues with streaming Commander gameplay is that, and I mean this in no like mean way, apologies if it is a little bit unkind, but you guys aren't that entertaining. Sorry. Like, I am a streamer, I know what I do, I'm a content creator, I know what I do. I think I am able to keep an audience engaged. But when I'm streaming Commander, I have 3 other people in the Discord call. And when I'm playing, you know, I need to talk to them and we need to interact with them a lot. And all of that is great for gameplay. It's fine for that lobby and I have no problem with the people that are there. But I don't think it makes for a very good stream. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably a little bit late on figuring that out. A lot of people don't stream Commander, and I assume it's for this specific reason. So, what do we do instead? I do still want to do these streams. I think they're really good. So I thought today, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna build some decks. We're gonna build some decks. We're gonna discuss a little bit. We're gonna just kind of like think some stuff through a bunch. And that's just it for today, and we'll see if that's any good. Right, good. And I would also be delighted if you guys gave me a chance to have a look at the kind of decks that you guys have lying around. You know, maybe we can go through them a little bit, learn from them together, that kind of thing. So I made a list of all the commanders that I find interesting, and I was considering making a deck about. This is my list. I went and I read all of the commanders. Don't ask me what they all do. I already forgot about most of them. But this is my list of the commanders I find interesting. And I was wondering if there is a way to build some decks with these. I think Castrol seems really cool. I think Nazan is interesting because the commander of this deck is really the hammer. Right? It's not really the dude. It's the hammer. I think it's kind of cool that this guy is just like a big old removal spell in the command zone. Who gives you infinity life, right? It's just infinity life. So there's some stuff there. But something I wanted to do first, I think, is I wanted to build a Lathliss deck. Because I built a Lathliss deck for Mickey a long time ago. And I wanted to build it for beginners, specifically. Because I think that Commander, like, it has the precons, but the precons are not good for beginners, I think. Like, they're just not good for that. And I think we can do better. So what I mean with that is I want to build a deck for beginners with Lathliss as the commander. And then we go from there. Right? So, let's go ahead and just kind of start by searching a little bit. We need to... What's important about when you're building something for newbies, right, is you need to figure out what concepts you're willing to include. Like, what are concepts that are reasonable and fair for a player to understand and learn. And that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. Now, I think something I really like about Lathliss, right, is that we can just immediately just start with all of the dragons. And we can have a look at, like, what kind of dragons exist and what kind of dragons we can play. And we can build this pretty affordably in that way, right? Like, so I think this is fine. This is fine. This one's maybe a little bit much. This is fine. So, like, kind of my starting point here is going to be a little bit is we want cards that are very specific in their language And we want to make sure that we have specific concepts that we're sticking to. For example, I don't want to include a Vengeful Ancestor because it includes goat. And that's not a mechanic that I'm willing to deal with for this deck. I don't think that would be a very good mechanic here. Of course, we want to keep budget in mind, so I'm not just going to put in really expensive cards like this. Because, you know, it's not a good deck for beginners if they have to spend 200 bucks to get it. So we need to make sure that we're keeping budget in mind. This one is maybe okay. We'll kind of add it for now. Tyrant's Familiar is always a good one. This one, I think, is actually too complicated. Actually too complicated. Oh, I should actually... I actually should do it like this. I think that works. Yes, very good. Because there's a bunch of our cards. We definitely want you. Don't want Magda. Don't want Magda. There's Dragon Tempest. Dragon Tempest is very strong. I think that's fine. Spending some budget on it. What deck are we making? Currently, I'm building a Lathliss deck that's aimed for beginner players. That's the idea of this, right? The goal of this deck is to be a deck that's easily understood and that feels exciting and cool to play, but is very straightforward. What's O Dragon? O is Oracle, and it means that the word dragon appears in the text box of the card. So we need to figure out how to draw cards later, and this one is actually a little unintuitive. I really dislike Outpost Siege. I think Outpost Siege is a good card, or reasonable card. It's not super good, but it's a reasonable card. But what I don't like about Outpost Siege is that that you want to select cards and not dragons, right? And that's like really shit for a dragon deck. That's like very unintuitive for a dragon deck, because I feel like the dragon deck would want to select dragons. And ideally, I want this deck to function without needing to explain it, right? That's like an important thing. So for example, There and Back Again is a cool card, right? But like it introduces way too many mechanics. It's kind of, there's too much going on with it. So I don't want that. Crucible of Fires. You know what? I've actually been growing more and more fond of these kinds of cards. What's this? Temple of the Dragon Queen. Well, this is not particularly useful, is it? Orb of Dragonkind. It's a little bit complicated as well, but I think we'll accept it because it fits very well into the theme of everything. Rapacious Dragon. Perfect. And does makes 2 treasures. I mean, does it get any better than that? That is absolutely fantastic. When it enters, create a treasure. It's a dragon. Whenever you attack, you may sacrifice a treasure. When you do up to that many creatures, gain double strike. This one seems okay. It's a bit of ramp. Gets us a little bit there. What is the confirmed refractored rules text interpretation called Oracle? I do not know. Oh man, Oracle MTG. Oracle. The Oracle is a database of every printed magic card and the current wordings on them. Oracle can be consulted via Gatherer. I think it's just the name, it's just what it's called. It's just the name. Oh, why is the current wording of cards called the Oracle text? Gatherer makes use of Oracle, but is not the generator of Oracle. So that doesn't really... I mean, that kind of answers it a bit. So it's the API name, I guess, yeah. It's just the name, I think. I don't think it means anything in specific. I think it's just a name. Okay, you know what? This is a whole other rabbit hole that I don't think is worth going into right now. Patron of the Arts is very good. What does this do? Null Spine Dragon. When it enters, you may discard your hand and draw cards equal to the damage dealt to target upon this turn. That's an amazing card. I love it. That's great. Fantastic. Nesting Dragon. Whenever land enters the battlefield, create a 0/2 dragon creature token. This is kind of tricky. I don't like it. Meaning of the Mighty. If it attacks, if you attacked with a total power of 6 or greater, this company may put a dragon card from your hand into play. Nope. That's trash. This gives everything double strike. It's actually kind of reasonable. We can put that in. This one is nice. You know, dragon, but it's. I think it's a lot to keep in mind. I think it's a bit complicated for beginners, but it might also be worthwhile. No, I think this is actually a fine card because worst case it's just a 4 deals 4 damage to something that will kill something, right? But it will also give players the option of learning the game, especially with Lathliss, where you can in theory like start stacking triggers in specific ways. Because in theory, with Lathliss and you have Spit Flame in the graveyard, you can first return the Spit Flame to your hand, cast it again, then have Lathliss create a token, and then return it back to your hand again. So I think that might actually be a decent teaching tool, that this card, that there's like some complexity to it. Is this mono red? Yes. It's entirely a red deck. Red Dragon deals 4 damage to each opponent, kind of ass. We do want to make sure it's good. That's actually something I think is very important. We're not putting Goat because Goat is a whole new mechanic. So you have to, like basically what we're doing, right? Whenever you're building a Magic deck, you're designing a game. That's how I think about it. And what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to design a game that is good for somebody that's learning how to play, which means we want to really minimize how many mechanics we're dealing with. There are a lot of really good effects, really good cards that I'm going to deliberately skip out on because they introduce a whole new mechanic that player now needs to manage, right? So would Goat be strong? Probably, would probably be okay. But that's a whole new thing that player now has to deal with, and that's what we want to avoid. Deals 3 damage to target creature, planeswalker. If you wield the dragon card, shows a dragon as you cast the spell. Deals damage equal to the power of that card. Yeah, that's kind of ass, honestly. Man, backdraft Hellkite attacks each... I guess I'll take it. It's flavorful, I like it. Each instant sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback. Nope, not playable. Do you guys know why this card is not usable? Does it have a printing? Maybe. It does not. This card is unusable for our deck. And that's because it doesn't have a printing that includes an explanation of flashback. So this card is actually incomprehensible and means nothing. Okay, Mana Form Hellkite. You create tokens when we cast now, whatever. When the Demanding Dragon enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target opponent unless the player sacrifices a creature. It's actually kind of okay, I like it. That's at least a dude. Thundermaw Hellkite, Flying Haste. When it enters, it deals 1 damage to each creature with flying your opponent's control. You can use Otak draw also for... Yeah, I'm familiar. Sorry, do you not see my stuff up here? I understand how to syntax search Scryfall, don't worry. Dragon Spark Reactor. Whenever Dragon Spark Reactor or another artifact enters, put a charge counter. Sacrifice it, it deals charge counts, whatever. Garbage, invasion, whatever. Dragon's Approach, no. Thank you. No. Smoldering Egg, nothing. Create a dude. Nope, we're not doing that. Destroy target artifact. You eat something, you get stuff. Territorial Hellkite. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose an opponent at random. The Territorial Hellkite didn't attack during your last combat. Oh, that's actually kind of fun. It's a 6/5 with flying and haste. That's nice. Draconic Destiny. This makes more stuff, but it's nothing. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each land your opponent's controller could produce colorless. I mean, this is actually kind of a cool card, but I don't think I would add it. You may search for an artifact. No, thank you. But it's actually also a cool card. This is actually like interesting. There are a lot of cool cards that I like here. Here, Flying Haste, you may exert it to deal 4 damage to target non-creature. But importantly, exert is explained on the card. Because exert is explained on the card, I think this is actually fine. Also, exert is not that complicated of a mechanic. When Flame Blast Dragons attacks, you may pay X and of red. If you do, Flame Blast Dragon deals X damage to target creature or player. 6 mana is just not great. Haste Myriad. No, thank you, Myriad is too complicated. Loot Dispute. Enters, you take the initiative and create a treasure token. Yeah, that's fine, but like... If you're 2 people left, you can't attack. If there's 2 people left, there's a very high chance that the dragon deck is just gonna murder whatever is left. So that's fine. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card. At the beginning of your end step, this card you had. Well, this seems bad. Dream Pillager, 4/4 potential card draw. Now, this is a mechanic, impulse drawing, I want to have as a mechanic. So I am fine with taking this and adding it into the deck. Although it is a 7 mana dude. So it's kind of like a bit much. When Spawn of Phraxis enters the battlefield, it is damage to target creature player equal to the number of mountains you control. This is actually like kind of okay. It's a 7 mana, comes in, kills a thing, right? Varric's Bladewing. I think this guy is just kind of ass. Like, it never feels good to cast. And how much are you? You don't have money. $10. Wow, you're expensive. Only 1 printing, I guess. That makes sense. Draco. What are you? A Comb Hellkite. Deals 1 damage to any target. Deals 2 damage if it was a mountain that entered. There's this initiative again. We're not taking that. Opportunistic Dragon. Enters the battlefield. Choose target human or artifact your opponent controls. As long as the opportunistic dragon remains on the battlefield, gain control of that permanent, it loses all abilities and it can't attack or block. That is unfortunate that it loses all of its abilities. That makes things a lot more complicated again. Okay, Incinerator of the Guilty. Does it have a printing that explains collecting evidence? Yes. It is still a bit of a complicated card. So this one is on the chopping block, potentially. But it would be good to have. It would be a nice one. Planeswalkers, yes, no. Probably no. I mean, is that something you would assume? This is the deck we're giving to somebody who's playing Magic for the very first time. Right? This is a deck we're giving to... We're not even playing 4-player Magic yet. We're just like, here's a deck. I'm gonna explain the game to you. Would you include a Planeswalker in that scenario? I wouldn't. I think that's like just not necessarily what we not necessarily super helpful, I feel. If it was bargained, add 4 mana in any combination of colors. Flying Haste. When it enters the battlefield, deals 3 damage to each creature without flying. Warmonger Hellkite. I actually kind of like Warmonger Hellkite. I think that's just a cool card. Deals 3 damage to each creature without flying. Thunder Dragon just comes in and scorches things a little bit. That seems good. Descent of Dragons. Destroy any number of target creatures. For each creature destroyed this way, its controller puts a 4/4 red dragon creature token of flying onto the battlefield. It's actually kind of a fun card. But I don't think it works that well. Enters the battlefield. It deals 4 damage to any target. 6 mana. 6 mana is just an awkward number a little bit. When Hunter Dragon comes into play, put 3 2/2 white knight creature tokens with first strike into play under target opponent's control. We are actually not that fussed about those, right? Because we're like all in the air, everything is big. Seems like a good way to go. Not doing this kind of stuff. No, thank you. Breath Weapon. Deals 2 damage to each non-dragon creature. Sounds very good. Dragon Storm. No, we're not doing that. Alright, Molten Steel Dragon. No, thank you. Boast. Shivan Dragon. Put in the classic. Mordant Dragon. Whenever Mordant Dragon deals combat damage to a player, you may have to deal that much damage to a target creature that player controls. It's actually kind of cool. Kind of okay. Capricious Hellraiser. This spell costs 3 less to cast if you have 9 or more cards in your graveyard. Flying. When Capricious Hellraiser enters the battlefield, exile 3 cards at random from your graveyard. Choose a non-creature, non-land card from among them and copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. This is actually a really cool card, but I'm thinking it might be... Is it that complicated? This one is actually like... This is kind of fine, right? I think everything is explained on it. It is a bit more of a complex effect, but nothing you can't figure out by reading the card. This seems okay to me. Let's add in one of these. Slumbering Dragon. Now a creature attacks you or planeswalker you control, put a counter on it. And it can't attack unless it has 5 or more counters on it. It's actually a very cool card for our deck. 260 is maybe a bit high, but let's just add it in for now. Copy casting shouldn't be that complicated. Yeah, like it's just not... I think this is actually totally fine. Like it's not that crazy. Draconic Intervention. As an additional cost to cast a spell, exile instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Deals X damage to each non-dragon creature, where X is the exiled mana card's mana value. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. This is actually a really sick card. I really like it. I didn't know this existed. I am definitely adding it. It's a little bit complicated again, but that's okay. Kolagan, Warmonger. When it attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a dragon card from among them and put it into your hand. I think this is also fine. We'll add him. I would really like to add Fembochod, but he's very, very expensive. How much does he go for these days? Yeah, he's an expensive boy, this boy. Big old chunky expensive boy. Furnace Hellkite, Twin Flame Tyrant, Quor Wrath, Bright Flame. Flying Haste, Knights your team controls are flying in haste. Such young gods. Fembochod. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. 7 mana comes into play. Deals damage to each other creature without flying. Where X is the number of mountains you control. Although, I think this guy is really funny. Because he's one of the only dragons. He might be the only dragon that doesn't have flying. Right? Dragon. And then -0, flying. Oh, no, right. There are these humanoid dragons. They don't have flying. But out of the, like... Yeah, I guess it's not actually that unique because of those humanoid dragons. Huh. Alright, anyways. Moonveil Regent. Whenever you cast a spell, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw a card for each of that spell's colors. Well, that's useless in a mono-red deck, isn't it? When Siege Dragon enters the battlefield, destroy all the voids your opponents control. Get out. Already don't need to read more. It's just kind of like a little bit complicated again. Skargan Hellkite. Riot. Flying. Deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 2 targets. Activate only if it has a +1/+1 counter on it. That doesn't seem very good. Form of the Dragon. At the beginning of your upkeep, Form of the Dragon deals 5 damage to target creature or player. At the end of each turn, your life total becomes 5. Creatures without flying can't attack you. It's a very funny card, but I think it's actually, it's not really what we're looking for. Voracious Dragon. Oh, Devour. Oh, it wants to devour specifically goblins. That is funny. There's so many weird cards. You know, this is something I really like. I like just reading all of the weird cards. Fury-born Hellkite, Bloodthirsty 6, Flying. Mana Charged Dragon, Flample. Each player starting with you may pay any amount of mana. Oh, this is actually, I think, a really fun one. We're definitely adding this. Shivan Branch Burner, Convoke, Flying Haste. Not super into that. Furnace Whelp. As an additional cast to cast Draconic Roar, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. Deals 3 damage to target creature if you reveal the dragon. Also deals 3 damage to a controller, that's nothing. Rorik's Bladewing. A lot of dragons are exactly 6 mana, which is just such a clunky thing. We adding changelings over my dead body. Changelings are the shittest mechanic in Magic. And I know that Mark Rosewater disagrees. I watched his speech. I know that he thinks changelings are a very good mechanic. And I understand that they were good for the given moment. I will gladly concede that. But I do think changelings are complete as a design. Because now, anytime a new creature type gets support, people don't go and then search for creatures of that creature type. They look for changelings. And it's just kind of like, what is this shit? I want to play a shitty dragon deck. I want to play changelings that happen to be dragons. Nah, man. I hate that. That's lazy. That's garbage. Ragefire Hellkite. Morph. When it's turn phase time, you switch life for a dragon card and put it into your hand. So it's a bit of a tutor. Gets -1/-1 for each dragon in your hand. Karan Dragon Lord. Hellkite Punisher. Ancient Hellkite. Deals 1 damage to target creature defending player controls. Activate only if it's attacking. So far, no. Oh, we're still continuing on. Okay. There's a lot left to go. There's a lot of dragons, I guess. Plus they're like stabled changelings that you just stuff in every tribe because you would be shooting yourself in the foot not to. That's exactly it, right? That's the kind of stuff I think is super, super boring. Like, don't tell me you're playing an elf deck and then you play down a changeling. Oh, the worst are, you know, Woja? The guy that cares about wolves and elves, and then people play changelings, and I'm like, guys, of course this shit is broken. Everybody keeps talking about how this commander is overpowered, and of course it's overpowered, because instead of building a deck that has to balance elves and wolves, you're cheating. Like, you're just playing both on one creature. Of course it's gonna be overpowered. And I get it, it's still a shit design, and I agree it's not a great card to have in the game, but I do also think that you're not really giving it a chance to shine there. Alright. Like, I have an Edgar Markov vampire deck, and I am strict. Every card in the deck needs to have something to do with vampires. Like, there needs to be something about it that is somewhat related to vampires. That's just a requirement. If it's not related to vampires, I don't want to see it. No. Although I have one exception. There's one exception. And I think that exception is acceptable, right? Wait, let me show you my exception for it. What is this? It's a bat. CMC 3. Black. Here. I play Darkstar Ogre. I think that's an acceptable exception for the vampire deck, right? So I think I will make a concession for that. But other than that, everything gotta be a fucking vampire. Thank you, Wong Willie. So. I personally don't have any problems with breaking creature continuity in ways like that. I just want the deck to be unique and interesting. So if that means I have to run a weird changeling, that's okay. And I think that's a coward's opinion. Play the creature type you need. If that means you have to play a shitty card, play the shitty card. Don't chicken out last second. Guys, oh, you might appreciate. Wait, let me show you some decks I've put together. Okay, I'm working on a video right now. And for that video, and I need to quickly search out my commanders, sorry. I went and I put together some decks. And the video, which I think is interesting, but what other creature types champion as an elf as a keyword? Champion and elf? Oh, are you saying that you're playing a changeling because it has a specific effect? That I will forgive, that's fine. Right? Like that's, I mean, whatever. If you're playing a changeling because it has an effect, and you're not playing it because you're chickening out on creature types, then I don't see an issue. Here we go. So, I have put together some decks. Let me show you really quick. The first deck I put together is this, which is a Kyo Mara First to Stand. This is a deck from 2007, which is one of the first documented cases I found of somebody that wasn't strictly within Sheldon's in-group posting a deck list online. So I went and I put it together. I've not had a chance to play this yet, unfortunately. But I am very keen on trying this out. This is just a deck list from 2007. It doesn't seem very good. Then I put together this. Arcades Sabbath. Sabbath. Arcades Sabbath. Back in 2004, when Sheldon made a post talking about EDH and introducing people to the format, he included a deck list. This is that deck. I've tried it once, and it is truly unplayable trash. I mean, I don't even know how to describe how bad this deck is. This is unusable. I don't know what to do with it, but I will try again. But so far, my opinion is that this is so bad. It is so bad. It just doesn't do anything. And then on that same blog post where Sheldon introduced people to the format, he also started a contest. And as part of that contest, he had people submit a Lord Tressorhorn deck. I think there were like 25 submissions or so that came in. And he picked his favorite out of those to win, I think, like store credit or something like that. I don't know. There was a small prize. This is that deck that won. This is the Lord Tressorhorn deck that won. I've gone and found the deck list and I've assembled it. This deck is actually kind of okay. Like, I played it yesterday against modern commander decks, right? And like, not even that, like, pretty solid, I played against an Elevere, right? Like, I played against a real deck, and I won. Straight up. Yeah, it's okay. Admittedly, it's hard carried by the fact that it plays a bunch of tutors. So you just like always tutor out what you need. However, at the same time, I'm a bit more forgiving if it comes to that, because I did play both of these decks when I played them with time-appropriate rules, which means No command zone. I just, at the start of the game, I showed this is my commander, and then I shuffled the commander into the deck. I did still win. I did still win by beating people to death with the Lord of Tressorhorn. Yeah. It's a very, but this one actually kind of kicked ass. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna pretend that this was a bad deck. This one legitimately kind of kicked ass, and I respect it for that. There were some interactions. I mean, specifically the card Lifeline. Actually so good. Have you guys seen Lifeline before? I had not seen it until I played it. Whenever a creature dies, if another creature is on the battlefield, return the first card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. This card is so good. This card is legitimately insane. And I kind of want it now. I should add it to my wants list, actually. I've got a little wish list of cards here. I want this card. I want the Lifeline. I've got a lot of cards on my wish list right now. Because there's this stuff. But that's okay. I'm fine with having a big wish list. Because, you know, that way I get to... Wait, I need a bunch more helpful hunters. Perfect. Tends to spiral games out of control though, since it's symmetric. Is it? We may have played this wrong. You're right. It is symmetric. Oh, we did not play this one correctly. Admittedly, I did not make this easy on us. Because I also made sure to print, like, when I printed these, I printed all of the oldest printings of the cards to kind of make it authentic to the time period. So there was quite a lot of time during the game spent just trying to figure out what the cards do, because contrary to popular belief, back in the day, reading the card also didn't explain the card. I would say that it's actually way worse with old cards. Oh, old cards do not explain the card when you read the card. Not even a little bit. Oh, they're so bad, I tell you. Oh dear, they're so bad. So, yeah, no, I thought this was only for me. Oh, that makes this card a lot worse. Like, quite a lot worse. Never mind. No, I'm just... Alright. I should actually, but I read, Lifeline wrong. Because of old phrasing. And so we played wrong. Okay, anyways. So what else do we have? Jaded Sellsword. No. Lightning Shrieker. Ooh, that's a terrible card, isn't it? Plundering Predator. That's kind of ass too. Two-headed dragon. Purifying Dragon. Fire Spitter Whelp. It's actually kind of cute. Legitimately, pretty cute. Because it's just a free mana dragon. We're actually kind of okay with that. I mean, Conrad decks are usually fine if your opponent's getting cards. It's Urza's Saga templating. Yours means everyone's? Obviously. Why wouldn't yours mean everyone's? I really should have figured that out by myself. Rakdos Pit Dragon. Oh, there's another dragon that doesn't have flying. Look at that. Rakdos Pit Dragon has double strike as long as you have no cards in hand. That's kind of ass. Whenever Hellkite Valve attacks, you just want damage to target creature. Defending. Stormwing Dragon. Thriving Skyclaw. Oh, we're not putting that in. That's got energy. That's the whole thing. Fletchling Dragon. As long as 7 or more cards in your graveyard, Fletchling Dragon gets +3/+3 and has Fire Breathing. That's cute. I like this guy. Enchanted creature, whatever. Sign of Ugin. Tyrant of Valakut. You may cast a spell for its search cost if you or a teammate has cast another spell this turn. Oh, we're not doing that. That assumes people know what a teammate is. That exiles all of our artifacts. We're not happy about that. We kind of need those. Sarkhan Dragonfire. Okay. Zodiac Dragon. We should add this one. It's just 180 bucks. Fire Dragon. This is the worst looking dragon I've seen in my goddamn life. Is that it? These are the only printings of this guy? My guy, they did you wrong. I gotta be honest. That's just cruel. I don't know why they did that to you. As long as you control no artifacts, I think we're kind of out. Yep, alright. These are all the dragons. We could add a banding dragon. But I don't think... There's this Tarok's Bladewing. Oh, that's awful. Okay, let's have a look at how many dragons we ended up with. Quite a lot. Well, that's good. We're already at 82 cards. Budget still crisp and clean, super low. So I think we can already start trimming a little bit, right? Like, let's get rid of all of the shit dragons. And I think for that first, let's start sorting stuff immediately. Orb? No. Ramp. So I like having these broad categories. I know that I will be grouping some stuff into categories where they don't strictly belong, but I like having those broad categories because it just makes it a lot easier to kind of keep an eye on things, right? Dragon. This is just a dragon. Alright. Demanding dragon. You're just a dragon. You have no other effect. Now, this is a dragon that kind of has another effect, right? So, this could potentially also be draw. And that's fine. Is this card draw? No, I don't care. So, I am generally of the opinion that I like building my decks in ways where I ideally want all of my cards to draw cards. I think when people build decks, they will often try to have specific cards kind of fulfill specific purposes and only those purposes. So where you say, oh, I'm playing this card to draw cards and I'm playing this card to ramp. But to me personally, I ideally want all of my cards to draw cards. And as long as they do that, I'm actually okay with whatever else is going on. And when I say that, like, to me, that's fine if I have a really broad definition of what draws a card, right? Like, is something like a Spirited Companion card draw? No, I don't think anybody would argue that it's card draw. But what's important is that it draws me a card. It replenishes my own resources. And if every card in my deck is a Spirited Companion, then I'm always gonna have resources. So that's kind of how I think about it. Now, I do want to also make sure... So this is just a dragon, doesn't do anything. This is... ramp. This is ramp. This is just a big ass dragon. But this guy can also double as removal. Wait, what did I just do? So we'll put him into a removal category. Do you have Cavern Horde Dragon in it? Nope. That's $10. That's way too expensive. No, we're not adding a $10 card. That's ridiculous. This one, Dragon, potentially card draw. So we'll put him here. We'll put him here. This is just a dragon. This is just a dragon. This is a dragon. Potentially treasures. Now I will make a separate category for treasures. Like, I think that's fine. This right here, dragon. But also treasures. Good. This right here, dragon. But also potentially removal. Nice. Hellkite Charger. Dragon. Just a dragon. Incinerator of the Guilty. Switch printing. There we go. This is a dragon. But also potentially removal. Nice. Do we use a different printing of Lathliss? I kind of like this one. I think this one is nice. What's this? Oh, I like this one a lot. Enters the battlefield, you may discard your hand and draw cards equal to the damage dealt to target opponent this turn. This can draw like 20 cards. This is amazing. Dragon? We're definitely keeping this guy. Wait, no. I put you into the wrong category. What's Crucible of Fire? You guys are going way ahead. We're currently sorting stuff. Oh, I already have a Crucible of Fire. What does that again? Dragon creatures you control get +3/+3. So, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think this is okay. I'm not saying it's in the deck though. Right now, my process when building decks, or like the way I go about it, is I always just start by adding shit. Right? I just start by adding shit. And that's okay. I also think you guys are thinking way too narrow. Because Crucible of Fire, I understand. What you're saying is like, Bami, look, if you have 20 tiny wieners in play, then Crucible of Fire gives you 60 power. That's amazing. And if you only have 2 big dragons in play, it only gives you 6 power. That's kind of shit. And to you, I say, I don't know. An 8/8 dragon is pretty big. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty big. That's a pretty big dragon. Things don't need to be that optimal. It's fine to just have an 8/8 dragon. That's a pretty big dragon. And with Lathliss, you gotta keep in mind, we are actually going a bit wide. Lathliss does go wide. Not super wide. But as far as big dragons are concerned, Lathliss actually goes a little bit wide. Goes a little bit wide. That card is the noob bait card. Why? Sorry, I genuinely don't see it. Like, in a one-on-one format, I can absolutely understand. But, like, I would play an overrun. Is this not just an overrun in a dragon deck? Do you guys not play Endrace Forerunners? I play Endrace Forerunners in nearly every deck. And it's always the MVP. How is Crucible of Fire much different from, like, any other card that just makes your guys bigger? It's amazing if you're ahead, terrible if you're behind. Yeah, but that's okay, right? Like, we're not trying to lose. Like, I feel like that's okay. Not on a dragon deck? I don't know. I have an Uro deck, can still play Endrace Forerunners, and it still slaps people. Again, I think in Commander, these kinds of rules don't really apply. There's this philosophy that a lot of people have, which is the like, oh, this is a win more card, right? And you're saying Crucible of Fire, this is a win more card. And I'm not saying it's staying in the deck, by the way. Like, I'm not making that commitment right now. I'm just trying to make an argument in favor of cards like this, because I don't think they're that bad. In Commander, you are actually often looking to win more. Alright? That's fine. Endrace gives you guys trample and vigilance, yes, but we're building dragons, they all fly. They don't need trample. Right? Like, that's okay. They don't need trample. They are flying. Like, that's enough. And 4 mana for +3/+3 is actually like pretty good. Like, that's actually pretty significant. So, you know. But basically what I'm saying is that the idea of like a win more card, I think is totally fine in Commander. So I have grown to appreciate a lot of cards a lot more recently that I think are, like, for example, I like this card, Nissa's Renewal. Search your library for up to 3 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle, you gain 7 life. This is a 6 mana ramp spell. And you might say, Barmy, this looks like shit. Why would you ever play this? Because oftentimes when you're doing okay, when you're in a game, so like there's kind of 2 scenarios that I often find myself in a game. Either I have a good board state and I'm killing people, right? In that case, I don't really want to overcommit to the board too much. So I do something like this, which will give me a long-term benefit. Or I am behind. So what my strategy often is when I'm behind is I just do random shit that, like, maybe in 6 turns I can come back into it after the board wipe has it. And if the board wipe never comes and we all die, then okay, I guess I lose. Like, I'm fine with that. It doesn't bother me. But I think cards like this are totally fine. They're totally good to go. And Crucible of Fire to me is kind of a similar card, where it's like, okay, do you really need 8/8 dragons? Maybe not, I don't know. But like at the same time, sometimes this is just something really low committal you can do. There's something you can just kind of slap down and it's fine and whatever, I don't know. Alright? There's a lot of dragons are like 5 or 6 mana, so like what else am I gonna do with 4 mana? Anyways. Although I gotta say, it's probably not staying in the deck. Your dragons are already flying, you don't need to pump them. I don't know about that. You wanna kill people, right? You wanna kill people. Alright, this guy is just card draw. Yes. There's the limit of cost for each card. I think no card should be more than like $5 or $6. And that is really if the card is very, very, very good. So I have Dragon Tempest in here, which is $5. And Dragon Tempest, I think, is just the giga god tier card in this deck, right? This is the best card in the deck. And so I think Dragon Tempest, I'm fine spending $5 on because it makes the deck so much better. What I'm not really fine spending $5 on is cards that are just like random ass good dragons. I don't actually think we need good dragons. Right? Also, like, so can I also say maybe, like, I've actually, like, I've built this deck before. I've built a Lathliss deck for my wife before. Right? And I'm kind of trying to rebuild one with, like, now that I'm much more experienced with this kind of stuff. I'm just kind of trying to rebuild it a bit. And here's my takeaways. Like, Lathliss actually goes really wide. Lathliss goes wide. There are, I understand that usually dragon decks, they have 1 or 2 big dragons. But when you play against Lathliss, you give her a turn or 2. Shit, there's gonna be 6, 7, 8 dragons in play. So yeah. Mana Charge Dragon, this is just a dragon. It's just a dragon. What does this guy do? Flying. Whenever more than deal dragon deals combat damage to player, you may have it deal that much damage to target creature that... Oh, I actually like this one. This one's kind of cool. Mordant Dragon. There's also removal. Patron of the Arts. Treasure. But also a dragon. Rapacious Dragon. Treasures. But also a dragon. Scourge of the Throne. Dragon. Scourge of Valkas. Removal. And also a dragon. Slumbering Dragon. Just a dragon, but a cheap one, so that's kind of a big deal. Spawn of Phraxis. This is just another removal thing, right? This is a guy that comes into play and then just like shoots a thing. That seems okay. I know I'm outvoting, but would you mind giving me the comparing the 3/3 to Vanquisher's Banner? Oh, Vanquisher's Banner is way better. Oh, obviously Vanquisher's Banner is way better. I'm not telling you that it's better than Vanquisher's Banner, but, you know, it fits with the theme. This one is more expensive, although I have to admit, I have to admit, I didn't know this was only $3. I thought this was a €10 card. Did this drop in price recently or something? Did it get reprinted? I could have sworn this card was more expensive than this. Because I checked for this a while ago and it was way more expensive. Well, thanks for pointing out Vanquisher's banner. We're definitely adding that now. Like, I thought that card was way more expensive. Cool. But you gotta keep in mind, again, right now, we are just adding garbage. Don't think that we have committed to anything yet. What we have done is we have added cards, now we're sorting them. And then after we've sorted them, then we're gonna go check if there's anything else we can do with it. Right? Like, how else do we go about it? Like, what else do we build to make this better? Like, I haven't added any instants or sorceries. I haven't added any removal, really. I've added a bunch of cards, and now we're sorting. And then afterwards, we're going to see what else we get. All right? Cool. I mean, I'm still just sorting dragons. This one makes a treasure. And also is a dragon. What does this go? Okay, it's just a dragon, right? It's just a dragon, okay. What does this do? Literally just a dragon, but a pretty scary one, so I accept that. Thunder Dragon. This one is actually not only a dragon, but also removal. Very good. What are you? Oh, this is the best dragon in the deck. I love this guy. It's a dragon, and it's removal. Also, keep in mind, please, very, very important, this is Lathliss for beginners. I'm trying to build a deck specifically for beginners. Master stream ending. I'm leaving at 5, so in around 2 hours. So since we're building a deck specifically for beginners, there are a bunch of mechanics that we want to minimize how many different mechanics we introduce, right? So, for example, somebody suggested early Dare and Back Again. And Dare and Back Again is a very cool card. A very cool card. But I'm not sure I want to introduce Sagas, right? Because Sagas, that's a whole set of rules. And I'm not sure if that's something we want to do at this point. Okay, so let's go through the dragons first. Wrathful Dragon. It's a good dragon. Is Wrathful Red Dragon removal? I don't know. We'll say. We'll leave him there. And Warmonger Hellkite. You know, this one may be a bit... this one is kind of removal. I don't know. Why are you building a deck for beginners, if I may ask? Okay, I explained it at the start of the stream, but let me explain it again right now, just so everybody is on the same page, okay? So, I do not like the precons for beginners. I find it difficult when somebody asks me, hey, Baumi, I'm like kind of interested in starting to play Magic, and then I tell them, hey, why don't you buy one of the precons, right? The problem is, have you played against the precons? Have you played with the precons recently? Like, if we look at the recent pre-constructed decks that came out, right? And the one that I've had the most experience with... Huh? This is Eldraine? Can I... Sword recently created. There we go. If you look at this, right? This is a deck I've seen a lot. My guy, would you give this deck to somebody who's just starting out to play? Like, that's fucking absurd. This deck is so complicated. There's so much going on with this. This deck is, it's super powerful, right? It's an incredibly strong deck. I'm not trying to tell you that it isn't. But it is a deck that there's just so much happening in it that I could never realistically give this deck to a beginner. And that, I don't like that. To me, look, I understand that precons, they aren't really aimed at beginners, right? Precons are really just like a big booster pack that everybody knows what's inside. Like, you're not gambling, so you know exactly what the reprints are, so you can buy it and you get a whole ass thing that you can just use. But I can't give it to my mom, right? If my mom asks me, hey, what is this game you ever play? I can't give her this. I can't do that. I can't give this to somebody who's just learning the game. Because it's just way too complicated. There's just way too much going on in it. So what I've decided is I'm just going to make my own precon for beginners. I'm going to build a deck that is minimizing how many new mechanics we're introducing, that has a very simple, straightforward game plan, and that is kind of exciting. And that's where we are. That's why we're doing Lathliss Dragon Queen. Lathliss, very straightforward commander. There's not much happening with her, just limited amount of text, one color. And with dragons, you get a nice baseline, something big and exciting, right? Which is just playing dragons and making other big dragons. And then you can build nice thematic stuff around it, and we can focus on simple effects that just like, we are going to focus on impulse drawing, we're going to focus on treasures. Those are going to be the two main mechanics of this deck. And we want to minimize how many other mechanics are in it. And like, okay, I think I've explained what I'm going for, right? Does this kind of make sense? Where I'm just like saying, look, I'm not saying that this is a bad deck. If somebody is interested in starting Magic, this is actually the deck I would tell, buy this deck, you will have a deck that will just kick people's asses. Like, it's legitimately very, very strong. It's incredibly powerful. I would 100% recommend that you buy this deck because there are good reprints in it, and it's just a very, very strong deck. But it is not a deck that I would recommend based on the, I would not, it's not a deck I would recommend for somebody who's learning the game to learn the game with, because it's just too complicated for that. So let me just build my own. That's why it's really important that it's a budget deck, because if I were to recommend, like if somebody were to ask me, hey Balmy, I need a deck, how do I get started with this Magic thing, right? Then I can be like, my guy, I build a dragon deck, here you go, it's like $50. I know it's still a bit much, but that's just how much Magic decks cost, right? It's $50, you can just proxy it or whatever, but it's designed to be easy to play and to introduce you to mechanics like gradually and have, you know, very limited stuff, but it's also good enough, right? That's the idea of it. So I hope that kind of makes sense, right? My problem with the precons isn't necessarily that they are too strong, it's just that they are too complicated. Right? Like, this deck more or less has a combo loop in it. Like, you can go, if you have Tatioba down, and where's this reader? And an Ayasha down, and I think is there Scoot Swarm? No, Scoot Swarm doesn't count. What was it? Tatioba, Ayasha, you need the Simone in play. Oh, no. It wasn't Ayasha. What's that other thing that, like, turns things around? Yeah, Eudora, right? And, like, it's actually, there's a combo line in it, but it's a really complicated one. Sakura Tribe Elder with Eudora. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can Sakura Tribe Elder with Eudora with Simone. And you can get all of the basics out of your deck. And it's just kind of like, wait, why is this possible in the precon? Like, what the fuck is going on? Look. This is a really good deck. It's also really cheap. If you're looking for a deck to kind of play that is very powerful out of the box and is super affordable right now, I can get this at my local game store for 32 euros. 32 euros. It's insane. It's so cheap. People don't like this deck. And I don't understand why. Well, I kind of understand why. It's not really super interesting, right? But it is very, very good. Right? But at the same time, you know, you can just... Let's move on. I think I've made my point. Right? I feel like I'm going in circles a little bit. All right, so we've assigned all of the dragons. That's very good. This guy would also be removal. So let's put that there. This would be a buff. This right here is also a buff and removal. This right here is removal. This right here is removal. This is removal. And this right here is buff and card draw. Okay, good. So we have sorted all of this. right? I think we can immediately have a look. Like, so after having a look at this, we have 29 dragons in the deck right now. I think 29 dragons is just too many. We actually don't need that many, do we? Like, what's a good number? What do you think? Let's maybe go down to 25 and then see if we want to reduce that later. But dragons, you know, we don't need that many because, like, you know, if we play 10 dragons in a game, we really should win that game. Like that game should be over. Like, I would be very surprised if we get to use more than 20 dragons in a game. Or 10 dragons in a game. So I think we can immediately cut these just like based upon the worst ones, right? So let's go to 25 for now. And then see what we end up with. And we'll look at curve. We are not at a curve yet. We're not at a curve yet. Because, look, here's the thing. We're currently playing some dragons that are a bit ass. So what I'm saying right now, let's find the 4 worst dragons of this pile that we just look at and we're like, yeah, this one just isn't very good. And we get rid of those and then we come and revisit everything later, okay? So, Slumbering Dragon. This one is actually, I think, really quite good. Early game. This just stops people from hitting us. But I have to say, is this worth 260? I think it's just too expensive. In my human deck, I have 41 creatures in it. Yeah, but dragons are expensive. They cost a lot of mana, right? So it's kind of... So the only reason why I'm a little tempted to get rid of this one is because it's expensive. If it wasn't so expensive... I would definitely want to keep it. So let's just keep it for now. Fire Spitter Whelp, cute. A little bit of a guy in the early game. Deals 1 damage to opponent whenever we cast a dragon spell. I mean, I think that's okay. One thing that could arguably be confusing is that the tokens from Lathliss don't trigger this. But that's okay. I think this is okay-ish. I do like this one. Because while this one can't attack, it can block. So it's a really good blocker. Right? This one is actually kind of ass. Actually, let's move this one. I think it's just cute, right? Swashbuckler Extraordinaire. This is literally just a 2/2 that comes in and makes a treasure. And I think that's okay. If a card costs over €1, it's got to make the beginner gasp or giggle to stay, or it needs to be very good. I will add, it is fine if it's very synergistic, right? But yes, I think that's a good line. If a card is like maybe around like €1-2, like we really need to have a reason to keep it around. I think the Slumbering Dragon, however, does fit that criteria, right? It's a very flavorful card. I really like the artwork on it. I think it's very evocative. This is just a cool card, isn't it? It's just a bit expensive. It's a bit expensive, but I think it's a very, very cool, evocative card. Maybe still on the chopping block because it just doesn't do that much overall. I remember what I said earlier, where I kind of like it if every card in my deck draws a card. And this doesn't do that right now, but it does work with the Vanquisher's Banner. So with Vanquisher's Banner, this might actually be okay. Anyways, Patron of the Arts, this is staying 100%. It's cheap. It makes 2 treasures potentially. It triggers Lathliss. It's a great card. Swashbuckler Extraordinaire. Whenever you sacrifice, I can give creatures double strike. That's nice. That's not too bad. And it makes a treasure, so I'm happy about that. Fledgling Dragon. This is a 4 mana 2/2. And if there's 7 or more cards in our graveyard, it gets +3/+3 and has whatever. I do not believe we have any other card that is threshold. And not only that, but we have a handful of cards right now that actually eat up our graveyard. So that means this is anti-synergistic and introduces a whole new mechanic. So I think Fledgling Dragon goes for complexity's sake. Okay, Territorial Hellkite. This is just a sick-ass beater, right? It's just a 6/5 that comes in and murders people? And it's great because it's random, so you can immediately politics with people and so on. I think that one definitely stays. Demanding Dragon. It's not as a bit ass, but I guess it does 5 damage. It's flavorful. Let's just keep moving. Ganax, amazing. Very good. Very good. We're happy. One thing I'm not super happy about, though, is that it has choose a background written on it, which is a little confusing, but I think you just ignore that. I hope you just ignore that. Glorybringer. You make Xrd Glorybringer as it attacks. When you do, it deals 4 damage to target non-dragon creature an opponent controls. Flying Haste, 5 mana. I think that just seems good. Hunter Dragon. Flying Haste, 6/6. When it enters, put 3 2/2 white knights into play. Seems okay. When it enters, make 2 treasures. Great. Scourge of Valkas. Actually, one of our strongest cards, I think. It's very, very good, so we're definitely keeping that. Wrathful Red Dragon is also very good. We're keeping that. It's also exciting, so I think that's nice. Looking for sick-ass beaters of randomons? Chaos Dragon is your guy for sure. Well, Chaos Dragon is just... oh, wait. What was he called? No, Territorial Hakite. Is that who you mean with Chaos Dragon? I think... Or is there like a different card? Chaos Dragon? Oh, there is a Chaos Dragon. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each player rolls a d20. If one or more opponents had the highest results, Chaos Dragon can't attack those players or Planeswalkers if they control this combat. I think this one is less exciting, actually. Like, this one is very similar to the Territorial Hellkite, but it's smaller. And I don't know, it's just like, yeah. Introduces D20s. We currently don't have D20s introduced, so I think that's fine. I would like to have a different printing for this, if possible. Okay, Wrathful Red Dragon. Capricious Hellraiser. Costs 3 less if you have 9 or more cards in your graveyard. Flying. When it enters, exile 3 cards at random from your graveyard. Choose a non-creature, non-land from among them, and copy it. So, you exile 3 cards from your graveyard at random. That's a little tricky, but that's, I think, fine. What power level are we aiming for with this deck? As strong as we can reasonably make it, given the constraints. I think it's actually really important that decks for beginners are powerful, because if they're not powerful, I think they are not really that fun. Also, let me check something really quick. One second. Got distracted. If beginners keep losing, it won't be that fun. Right, like it needs to be a dragon that makes the beginner feel... it needs to be a deck that makes the beginner feel like they are actually able to compete. I think that's very important. Alright, Incinerator of the Guilty. It's a good card, so we're keeping in. Mana Charge Dragon. So this one I think is kind of ass. It's a little bit funny, but it's like overall just not good. 6 mana is just a very contested slot, so I'm gonna get rid of this one. This one is also kind of ass. It's a little better at least. But I'm gonna move those out. Again, like the 6 mana slot is actually the one that I care the most about. You might think that we don't want things that are too expensive, but we can just build the deck to have a lot of mana. That's fine. We can go really heavy on the mana. It is, however, trickier to play Lathliss on 6 if we have other shit on 6, right? That just isn't as fun. Okay. How many do we have? Oh, we are 25. We're 25. So there we go. Cavern Horde and Goldspan, guys. But Cavern Horde Dragon is 11 euros. And Goldspan Dragon is 7, 8. They would immediately be the most expensive card in the deck. Let's maybe wait with that a little bit. Alright? So, I would like to include the word treasure. So, let's see what we can get here. Big score. I like this. I think we're gonna play big score, unexpected windfall. These are totally fine. They are nice. They kind of get us where we want to be. Seize the spoils. Again, we discard stuff. We gain some mana. Very nice. Atsushi, unfortunately, Atsushi is just kind of expensive, right? Now, I am a bit reluctant to play cards that aren't dragons. Or have dragons somewhat... Like, I don't really want to play too many creatures that aren't dragon related. Now, do we play Reign of Riches? Reign of Riches is a really fun card. Especially if we have a treasure theme. And it has a dragon in the artwork. But it does introduce Cascade. Is that worth it? Is that okay? I'm gonna add it for now. It has a dragon in the artwork. If it didn't have a dragon in the artwork, it wouldn't make it. But it has a dragon, so I think that's nice. Right? So. Hoarding Ogre. Well, it's not a dragon, is it? Cascade is explained on the card. Yes, that's a big deal. The fact that Cascade is actually explained on the card, I very much agree, matters a lot. Roll 2d12 and choose one result. Reckless Endeavor deals damage equal to that result to each creature. Then create a number of treasure tokens equal to the other result. And there's a dragon on it. Oh, it's $10. Never mind. You didn't know this was $10. Alright. Oh, I got a bit excited. Maybe we should actually just filter out all of the stuff that's less than... that's too expensive. Let's just filter out all of the things that are kind of going a little bit too hard. Brass's Bounty? But we're not land ramping too much, I think. Shiny Impetus that introduces gold? Sticky Fingers. Spiteful Banditry. Seize the Spotlight. It's actually kind of a cool card. Exile the top 3 cards of your graveyard, of your library until the end of your turn. Play those cards, create 3 treasure tokens. Wonderful. Perfect. Exactly right. This is the kind of stuff, right? Like we want Impulse Draw, we want treasure stuff. Deals 1 damage to any target, you create a treasure token, draw a card. Is that okay? Guys, we're not quite at Impulse Draw yet. We're looking for treasure cards right now, right? What are some good ways for us to make mana? We want to make sure it's nothing too complicated. Indulge? Excess? No. Young Red Dragon. Create a treasure token. And then it's a dude? How did we miss this guy earlier? Oh, because he's adventure. Never mind, sorry. Prosperous Bandit. It's just way too adorable. But I think it's actually also kind of too expensive. Oh, sorry, kind of too complicated. Season of the Bold. Mana Geysir? I think Mana Geysir is fine. We're adding Mana Geysir. I don't see why we wouldn't. It's a big dragon deck. Why wouldn't we slam Mana Geysir? Season of the Bold. We can create treasure tokens. We can impulse draw. Or we get something kind of complicated. Red Calf Thief. Goblin. You've been caught stealing. That's a fun card. I like it. Exhibition Magician. Create a treasure token for free. Trove of Temptation. Each opponent must attack you or a planeswalker you control with at least one creature each combat if able. At the beginning of your end step, create a colorless treasure token. Huh. Interesting. This is actually like not that bad just because we can't see. Piggyback, Mine Raider. Okay. Alright. So, we looked for treasures. Now, is Impulse an O-tag? Seems like it. Very good. Wait. Huh? Is this Impulse? Over the top? Do you have it? No, this is not Impulse Draw. This is not what I have in mind, because like where is Rens Resolve? I want to go to the tagger really quick. And I want to see Rens Resolve. What are your tags? Impulsive Draw. That's a pretty long tag. Does that work? It does. Oh, interesting. All right. Light up the stage is probably fine. It's a bit expensive, but I think that's fine. Reckless Impulse, Rens Resolve. We are playing Impulse Draw. Impulse Draw is something that we're doing. That's fine. Right? That's one of our ways to make sure we have cards. Apex of Power is kind of fun. I kind of like the idea of just slamming Apex of Power in there. Party Fresher. I don't think that's exactly right. Oh, Glimpse the Impossible, but it creates Eldrazi's. Outpost Siege is a no-brainer. Has dragon in the name. No, Outpost Siege is not a no-brainer. Outpost Siege is actually kind of ass. And here's why, right? Like, here's what I don't like about it. It has us choose between Khans and dragons. But we're always choosing Khans. Right? So we give somebody the dragon deck and we're like, hey, here's the dragon deck for learning magic. And then they get Outpost Siege and they're like, well, I get to choose between Khans or dragons. Well, I guess I should choose dragons. And then you played the worst card in your deck. You see the problem? If literally those two modes were switched, no brainer. No brainer. Then I 100% agree. Then it's easy peasy. But as is, nah, I don't know. Card advantage is broader. Ooh, I'm learning some new things. Mindstone, yeah, I haven't added mana rocks and so on, but I guess we should, right? Let's add some mana rocks. Let's add a Mindstone. Not a big fan of this one, but I'm gonna add a Solemn. I am a Solemn gamer. I don't know if you guys are Solemn gamers, but I am a Solemn gamer. Is Idol of Oblivion good for us? Probably not, right? Wheel of Fortune, it's 2 cents. What a good value deal! The Wheel of Fortune is bugged. I don't know why. It's not 2 cents. Oh, man. Do you add a Soul Ring? No. I will not. You may notice that not a single one of my decks has a Soul Ring in them. I do not like Soul Ring. I don't think it should be played widely in the format. Yes, I will stand by that principle, even if it puts people, the person playing this deck, at a disadvantage. But Soul Ring is an overpowered card that frankly shouldn't be played. It is fast mana. That's it. It's fast mana. If you play any other source of fast mana, I'm still gonna be annoyed by it. I kind of would like to play the Magus, but it's kind of tricky, right? The way I look at it is that we're getting fucking gaslit into believing that Soul Ring is actually fun to play against. And I find it really irritating, right? I've never had a game where somebody played a Soul Ring and then I went like, damn, that game was way more fun because of that Soul Ring. Like, that has never happened, ever. The only games I've had with Soul Ring is somebody plays an early Soul Ring and then I'm like, okay, I guess we lose. Because they just have so many more resources. They're just like 2 turns ahead now. They basically time walked twice. Cool. I don't know. It's kind of ass, isn't it? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why people are so insistent on Soul Ring. And I don't play Soul Ring in any of my decks. I don't play Soul Ring ever. Except for tonight, where I'm going to like a weird tournament-ish Friday Night Magic. Whatever, I'll play it there because everybody else is playing it. But other than that, I never play Soul Ring in any of my casual decks. And that's because I hate it when you have this conversation and everybody is like, yeah, I agree, but everybody else plays Soul Ring, so I play Soul Ring. And at that moment, I always get out my deck box, I put it in front of them, and I'm like, find me a Soul Ring. I don't play a Soul Ring. Because now you can't make that argument anymore. And I think that's important. So, do we like draw discard stuff? Do we like Humble Defector? A friend of mine absolutely hates Humble Defector, which I think is very funny. He despises this card. Because he's just like, this is just 2 people masturbating with Humble Defector back and forth every time. And you know what? Yeah, that's kind of true. So, I see why he doesn't like it. I like Bitter Reunion a lot. I think Bitter Reunion is actually a very nice card. We have to decide... Well, we have the Dragon Mage, now that it comes up actually, right? So we have discarding to draw as already a mechanic. I think... Oh yeah, we also put Impulse... No, we're actually fine putting discard to draw in, right? Like, that's something that we're okay with? Yeah, I think we're okay with that. We already have Unexpected Windfall and Big Score and shit like that. So since we already have discard to draw, I think we can embrace that a bit more. Will you concur to having Chaos Swap in the removal slot? Yeah, I think Chaos Swap is probably fine. We'll figure out what exactly we play for removal. I'm not a big fan of single target removal, to be honest. But, like, we'll probably put in a Chaos Warp. That seems like easy enough. Okay, so discard to draw. We also have to ask ourselves, are we going to play any creatures that aren't dragons? I think it's okay if we play a handful. Wait, give me 1 sec. What's that? Okay, sorry, I got... What's this? Nothing. Alright. Tormenting Voice is kind of ass. This is kind of ass. Yeah, I always find it really difficult to build good card draw in red. Is Endless Atlas something that we want? I'm gonna add this for now, because I'm actually thinking this might be okay. I'm not changing the mana base. The mana base is gonna stay at 40 mountains. That's the mana base. Be ready for that. That's it. So since that's the mana base, I definitely want to play some mana doublers. So just finish tagging the stuff in a god-awful blink deck that my brother insists is fine. I found a total of 2 win cons and 16 removal cards, most of which are blinkable. Yeah, look, this is another thing. I have, like, all of these opinions. Apologies. But I'm not a big fan of this, like, something I hear a lot online. Something I hear all the time. It's people saying, just play more removal. And I have to say, unless you're playing absolutely none, right? And that might be the case. Yeah, maybe you just play absolutely no removal. Don't play more removal. My controversial opinion is play less removal. And here's why. I would rather just fucking lose and do the next game. Like, sorry. My worst games, the games that I dislike the most, are the games where people are just like, okay, I play 3 creatures, and the next guy is like, Wrath of God. No, like, okay, well, shit. The next guy is like, okay, I play creatures, and the next guy, play enchantment, and then it goes around one circle, and then someone's like, farewell. I'm like, oh my god, we never get to do anything. We never get to do anything. anything. just either kill us or die, but don't keep me hostage, you know? I'm not appreciative of that. I'm adding Bitter Reunion. I'm a big enjoyer of Bitter Reunion. So, I don't know. It's just like... Tome of Legends is too slow. Burning Inquiry, just to, like, annoy people a bunch. Neheb? How is Neheb only 2 cents? That's a lie. Neheb is more expensive, right? Yeah, it's not super expensive. I guess he's, like, really cheap, actually. Alright, poor Neheb. Zenith Chronicler. This guy. Oh, yeah. Good call, good call. Very nice, very good. Molten Psyche. Sears Sundial. Nah. Bag of Holding is kind of ass. The Celeste is not a big fan of that. To be honest, we might actually have a good amount of card draw already. Although, of course, like, not everything is proper card draw, but we'll just have to accept that in red. In red, we were a bit more limited. Okay. Is the bad Neheb? No, I think that one is fine. I mean, maybe it's worse than the other one, but I wouldn't call him bad. No need to be rude to my boy. I think it's totally fine. Dance with Calamity is a very fun card, I have to say. Very flavorful in the dragon deck too, but you also just wouldn't be able to actually hit that many things. Which feels a bit unfortunate. The Elder Dragon War. Incendiary Command is kind of ass. I've seen it like a couple of times, never performs as well as I wanted to. Alright, we're really digging deep now. Don't think there's much left here that's like particularly exciting. Okay, that's fine. Alright, what did I want to... We have... Oh yeah, right. Let's get ramp. Hey, thank you very much, Ignazu Servant. Appreciate it. So let's just get some ramp. Ramp is always nice, right? So we get an Arcane Signet, that's fine. Fought Vessel, probably not that helpful, but I guess we'll take it. It's kind of bad, actually. I'm actually an enjoyer of Fran Dynamo. I like, as I said, I like these kind of big ramp effects quite a bit. Alright, Mana Geyser. But even stuff like Gilded Lotus, I actually think is totally fine. This is not something you see too much of, but I think these cards are solid. Worn Power Stone, great. Really nice. 3 mana ramps you by 2. 3 mana, Worn Power Stone. Turn 3, Worn Power Stone. Turn 4, you can slam Lathliss. It's great. Ruby Medallion is super, super good, of course, but it's a bit expensive. I'll add it in for now. There's the Cage Stun. I would also like the Gauntlet of Power. If I can find it. Chris Mirror's really good, but Chris Mirror's complicated, so we're not adding it. Chris Mirror's the kind of card where you look at it, and I think you can get a lot of questions. You can get a lot of... You look at it and you're like, I don't know which one of these works in which way, right? I don't know, like, what does copying mean? Does it turn back into the creature at the end of turn? It's just the kind of thing that, like, at the end of the day, leaves the player with a lot of possibilities. And that's something I want to avoid. I want to keep this simple. I want to keep this straightforward. You know, Marauding Raptor is actually kind of funny. Hoarding Ogre is also kind of cute. I'll add this. I'm not sure if we're allowing any creatures that aren't fitting with our theme, but that's okay. So I'm guessing we're going to need a lot more early cheap ramp. That's something we do not have right now. And that's kind of a problem, like cheap, low to the ground mana rocks would be good. You know, this one is actually kind of okay, this Ace Ring. Patchwork mana. Well, it's kind of expensive and doesn't do that much for us. You know what? Like this thing right here, I keep thinking it might be okay. If only it didn't enter tapped. Ah, this card. I want it to be so good so badly. The Empowered Auto Generator. Ah, I want it to be so good. I want it to be good so badly. I just don't think it is. I wish that guy didn't create a Wicked Roll token. All right, okay. That's fine. Is Mana Rock? Should be one, right? Good, okay. So I want to just have some cheap Mana Rocks, right? And I'm kind of fine with anything. I'm not that picky. Felbow Stone, Fort Vessel, that's okay. Fire Diamond. Why not? Why not? This is kind of fun. I've never seen this before. Cost reducers. We already have some cost reducers, but they just like are only so many, right? Right. I don't know. It's kind of it. It's just those two nerds. Of course, if we take out the budget restriction, we end up with a couple more. We get this guy, But this guy is too expensive. 10 bucks is just too much. I guess that's actually it. Oh, it's still mostly just these two. All right. Wayfarer's Bauble. Yeah, I'm actually, like, you're right. I should probably add Wayfarer's Bauble. All right, let's get Chaos Warp. Chaos Warp is always nice. Chaos Warp is just good. I'm actually kind of fond of Mysium Mortis. But it's 6 mana, which is just... It's also a new mechanic with Overload, so I'm not super fond of it. For this deck specifically. Stalking Vengeance is just a win, right? Is Stalking Vengeance just a win? Oh, that's kind of funny. Semblance Anvil. Oops. It's actually an interesting thought. Wait, how do you write this? Semblance. That's actually a cool one. Isn't Ursa's Incubator cheaper now? Ah, it's still kind of expensive. Got reprinted once, but yeah. Okay. Chain Reaction. Let's just go. Let's just actually go with like some Chain Reaction. Wait, we want Earthquake. We want Earthquake. Hits everything that doesn't fly. Let's see. I'm gonna take out I'll take out the permanence. There we go. So, Blasphemous Act, of course. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking if there's anything specifically good for us right now. Deals X damage to target creature for outflying you don't control, and deals double X. So it becomes really expensive if you hit everything. Oh, it's kind of ass. Why is this not showing Earthquake? What's the phrasing on Earthquake? Is Earthquake not tagged for removal? Deals X damage to each creature without flying. Is Earthquake tagged as a Wrath, maybe? No. So there's Earthquake. There's Magma Quake. Do you just add Magma Quake as well? I'm kind of okay with that. Just double down on it, right? You can kick this. This is actually kind of a sick card. Wait a second. Is this good? 4 mana to deal 4 damage to each creature without flying in each player? That's actually kind of okay, right? Like, it's good because it doesn't hit our dragons. Like, sure, Chain Reaction is often better. But if we have literally anything, then this doesn't hit it. But we don't want to overcommit into Ghostfire Slice. Alright, guys. chill out a little bit. I'm working my way through it. What's Ghostfire Slice? Wait, this is ass. Why would I play this? There's Fault Line, which is just another magma quake. Why there's so many magma quakes? Except for creatures you control with flying, that's nice. Okay. All right. Let's slap in some removal really quick. I don't know how much single target stuff I really want. Not much, to be honest. This guy would be nice. I would like to play him, but I don't think that's actually right. Gleeful Demolition. Or mana on opponent commander. Yeah, but like that's not good. So like I don't like that. I don't like playing 1 mana removal spells that are aimed to just kill the opposing commander. And that's for 2 reasons. First of all, I don't even think it's a good strategy, right? Like I don't think that's actually like how you win. And secondly, that's just boring. Like this is something I find really interesting though. This is an experience I've had where I feel like actually this might be a larger regional metagame difference where I've played with some Americans before, right? And like I feel like Americans are way more likely to just nuke each other's commanders as soon as they come down. While in my communities, like where I've played here in Germany, and in like various places, not just like in one space, in a variety of communities, that just doesn't happen. People are just like, you play your commander and people are like, cool. And to me, that makes more sense. Because if somebody plays their commander and I just immediately murder that commander, well, they don't really get to play now, do they? Like, where's the fun in that? Wouldn't it be way more exciting for them to actually get to play the game? And like, sure, if I let them play the game, I risk losing, but I'm like kind of okay with that. Like, who gives a shit? Right? Like, this does not bother me. I am fine with that. So I'm just saying that I think that's like not a line of thinking that I personally subscribe to. Right? I mean, next time if you kill my commander. Hey. If we're talking tournament games, those are different. Oh, I'm not gonna listen. I'm not gonna listen to that. Getting slandered here already. Yeah. We're changing subject matter mid-sentence. Ah ha ha. Of course. Okay, we've got too many cards in here. So we actually already have a lot of single target removal. Just because of our dragons. I don't think we need that much single target removal, to be honest. The only thing that's like a problem is how do we get rid of like... How do we get rid of like an enchantment or something? That's a problem. I started building most of my decks as 99 card Highlander decks where I only occasionally cast my commander because people keep killing commanders on site. Yeah, that's kind of odd. But I have to say, I like building my decks in a way where it's like really hard to get rid of the commander. Or like, I don't know. Like, for example, this bad boy right here, this is 6, right? And like 6, of course, like if I play 6 and you immediately murder him, then that's not ideal. But you can just play this deck without the commander and then until like kind of play to a point where I have all of the resources I need and then I just play 6 and then I like go off. So, I don't know. Or Uro, yeah, Uro is just kind of like, you want to kill Uro? Okay, cool. Just playing again. Just keep playing for you, Uro. Oh, man. I think it would actually be a more fun and interactive format with our commanders. So I actually played 2 games yesterday with these decks. Right, this is Lord Tressorhorn and this is Arcades Sabbath. These are 2 of the oldest commander decks I could find. Not from me, but in general. These are both from 2004. And when these decks were made, Commander didn't have the rule that, like, didn't have a command zone yet. So I guess EDH didn't have a command zone yet. So when I played these decks yesterday, I played them with the commanders just shuffled into the deck. I just asked people if that's okay, if I can just shuffle my commander into my deck at the start of the game. And I mean, why wouldn't that be okay, right? Like, I'm giving myself a disadvantage. That's not particularly helpful. But the thing about these, this deck and this deck, they both play a ton of tutors because otherwise you just don't get your commander. And then you're just playing a deck that's full of cards. And like, I guess that's kind of fun. But at the same time, I don't know. Although, I gotta say, this Tressorhorn deck actually kind of kicks ass. It's actually kind of neat. Except I think I played it wrong, so maybe it's not. Who knows? So, is there... Guys, help me really quick. Otak removal. I want stuff that, like, murders any permanent. I guess I can... Why am I making this so difficult? Easy game. Okay. Chaos Warp. Meteor Golem. Not a dragon. Wild Magic Search. Target opponent... Strike target cover reveals cards until they reveal a permanent chest. No, that's... Whatever. That's not what I'm looking for. Spine of Isha. Guff rewrites history. It's way too much text. You can't expect somebody to read this, right? Wasn't there another card? What is that second Chaos Warp called? There is Chaos Warp 2. Do you guys know what it's called? Oh, man. I think it's 2 mana. Alright, I'll just CMZ equals 2. I think it's a sorcery. I have a sorcery on instant, I don't know. It's not in here, so it's not tagged properly. It's not Wild Magic Surge now. Tag instant or tag sorcery. Alison's Judgment? Maybe it's not 2 mana? Is it 3 mana, possibly? It's not Guff rewrites history. It's a single target thing. Man, I know this card exists, but I don't know what it's called. Also, I think we can actually, like, I'm just gonna add an Anthrax Rampage because I've always been wanting to find a space for this card. I think it's so bad, but I kind of love it. I think it's just really fun. It's really just neat. I mean, I don't know, maybe this is the space. What is that thing called? Oh, man. There is a card that exists. Okay, I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it's called. All right, let's start sorting our garbage, right? We have a pile of garbage. And I think we can start putting this all together a little bit. All right, so you go to ramp. You are looting and ramping. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't think I can actually keep this in the deck. I think this thing is immediately going. I added this because it was like, I don't know, maybe. But like, I think that's just a hard no immediately. I mean, is this shit not ass? Oh no, this gotta go. I don't even know why it's here. Endless Atlas. I think that's actually maybe okay. We'll just put that over there for now. Felvar Stone. It's really just like very mid for us, right? But like, we just want 2 mana rocks. Like, that's okay. Semblance Anvil. We yeet a dragon. You come here. You come there. I get the feeling that our artifacts might serve a single purpose. Alright, we found some ramp. We have found ramp, everybody. We have done it. Alright, so this is AoE. I like separating out this a little bit. Okay. Wild Magic Search is kind of a second Chaos Swarm. I honestly, I have a specific thing in mind, and I'm not sure it even exists anymore. I feel like I have like gaslit myself now into not believing this is a real card. So, you know, we're working on it. What is Neheb doing here? This is way too complicated. This is way too complicated. Right? Like, Neheb is just actually too complicated of a card for this deck. Look, there's so much text on it. These are not actually card draw. These are not actually card draw, but I'm just gonna put them into card draw anyway. You can't stop me. This is treasure shit. This is removal. This is AoE. Although, I think I put other AoE into the removal thing. Did I? Target creature. To each creature without flying. So you are actually AoE. Target creature. This guy is also AoE. Embrace the unknown. What's that? I'm actually not that good at red. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. No, it's retrace. Sorry, it's a new mechanic. We're not adding new mechanics anymore. We actually need to trim mechanics at this point. This right here is AoE. This is AoE. And this is also AoE. Okay, so we've trimmed this down a little bit. Gotta make sure this all kind of makes some sense. You are AoE. This right here is treasures. And some sort of drawing effect. Draw treasures. Yeah, it would be nice to play the dragon that makes everything tap for double mana, right? So Yoba's Justice? Ooh, that might be a good call. That sounds about right. Yes, that's the one. The owner of target artifact or creature of mana value 1 or greater shuffles it into the library. Then that player discovers X, where X is its mana value. That is what I mean. I'm also immediately cutting it from the deck. Sorry, it's introducing a new mechanic. We're not doing new mechanics. We have added it. We figured out which card I meant. I was wrong. It doesn't hit everything. And also, we're not adding it in anyways. It's going immediately. So this is our actual draw. There we go. That's good. But thank you very much for figuring that out for me. I think at this point, like, I have my 3 colors that I feel really comfortable with. Like, I feel comfortable with blue, green, and white. And with red a little bit, and I have no fucking idea what I'm doing with black. I'm gonna be completely honest. But I'm just, like, not super interested in black. Because one of the issues I see with it is whenever I see other people playing with the color, right? And this is maybe just me. This is just how I feel about it. But I see everybody always playing the exact same cards, and I find that kind of boring. Like when I'm playing green or blue or white, my 3 colors, right? I feel like I have such a broad range of garbage I can play. But every time I see somebody else playing black, I think it's just like, these are just the same 50 cards in every deck. How does every deck have the same 50 cards? And I am just not super excited about that. All right, so we've tagged everything. Good. We have quite a lot of AoE, probably more than we need. We have quite a lot of ramp, probably more than we need. We have a sketch amount of card draw, because a lot of this is not actual card draw. A lot of this is not real card draw. So that has me a little concerned. But I actually, wait, I wanna add Valakoof. Exploration. Malakut Exploration. I want to add that. I wish we could add Outpost Siege, but I'm not gonna add Outpost Siege because it's confusing. Sorry, it's confusing. It's a badly designed card. It's actually a fine design. It's just frustrating because I wanna click Dragon, right? Okay. So we have 113 cards in this deck. We have everything tagged, which is great, but right now we actually need to figure out mana values first. So we're pretty high on the mana values. We have a lot of 2 mana here, which is good, 3 mana value is pretty dense, 5 mana value is pretty dense. So I think we actually want to cut down primarily here. I know that seems kind of unusual because oftentimes I think you're looking to cut down the high mana value stuff. Landfall is a new mechanic. Landfall is a new mechanic. You are correct. But Landfall is a really easy mechanic. Right? Like, I think Landfall is something that you can leave up to a new player to figure out. Like, Landfall is so easy that I think you just, like, don't even need to call it Landfall. Like, does that kind of make sense? It is such a straightforward mechanic that I think it, like, is okay no matter what. This is something anybody can figure out. Landfall is just not that complicated. It also explains it very cleanly. That's an important thing, right? We want each print of the card that introduces something new to also make sure that that thing is sensible. So I think Semblance Anvil, totally a fine card, probably a really good card for this deck, but I think it goes. First of all, it introduces imprint, which I think is somewhat complicated. And secondly, it is minus card advantage, which is something we don't want. We want to make sure we are good on cards, right? So Semblance Anvil, it's going. That's just not good enough in my opinion. Spit Flame, I don't want our hypothetical player to have to focus on a graveyard with this. I also think this card sucks. So I'm just gonna get rid of it. I think that card is just kind of ass. Okay. Let's go through. Arcane Signet, Bitter Reunion. Bitter Reunion is like a tad bit complicated, unfortunately, but I think it's okay because it is just kind of good enough. Is this one complicated? It's tricky because it's an effect that's similar to the other effects, but it's slightly different because it's an enchantment. But I think that's okay. Dragon's Fire. You may reveal a dragon card from your hand or choose the dragon you control. Deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker if you reveal the dragon card or chose the dragon as you cast the spell. Dragon's Fire deals damage equal to the power of that card or creature instead. I'm gonna go ahead and move this out for the moment. Felbastor, Fire Diamond, Mind Stone, Magma Quake, that's fine. This is all okay. Scene of Chronicle, that's all fine. I'm interested in building a landfall deck. I mean, I think landfall is just like one of the problems I have with landfall, like if I'm completely honest, right, is there's just like not that many cards, so you can see it's only 200 cards, and the good cards are just so much better than the bad ones, right? Like if you go down to the second page here, there's a lot of landfall, which is just like super ass. Whenever land enters under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on this. I guess. Like, it's not terrible, but it's just... I don't know. Whenever you play a land, you cast a spell, you draw a card, you do something like that. That's actually kind of sick. I actually like this one. That was kind of cool. But yeah, like, a lot of landfall is just not actually that interesting, I find. Because it's just kind of bad, and the good cards, they are so good that you see them everywhere. One of the problems with landfall, I think, from like a design perspective, is that landfall rewards you for doing something that you already have to do. And I think that's a really important difference, right? Because there are a lot of mechanics that reward you for doing something you want to do. And that is fine. Rewarding the player for doing something that they want to do is good. I like that. That is helpful. That is good. Nice. Right? However, once you reward people for something they have to do, you're not really rewarding them, right? Like they're just getting something for free. And that's where the difference between like lands and like other things, because you have to play lands. So landfall isn't overpowered in that way, right? It's just that all of the really good landfall cards, which are these bad boys up here, they are so common. They are everywhere, right? And so for me, because these cards are so good, because these cards are so widely spread, it doesn't really make for a super interesting deck building experience for me, because I'm just kind of like, well, this is just standard shit, right? It's just the most normal thing in the world. But yeah, a lot of landfall cards are really, really, really good. I mean, I have a deck that's more or less dedicated around this asshole. This guy's really good. That's a very good card. Anyways. Ruby Medallion, kind of expensive. Do we have any cost reducers? We do have cost reducers. I think Ruby Medallion is probably worth it. This is an attack trigger. We have attack triggers. We have look at the top cards for the dragon. I think this one is fine. It's slightly more complicated than I would like it to be, but I think it's probably fine. Breath Weapon and Flame Sweep. So Breath Weapon, I think, is a bit... Wait, $3? This is €3? That can't be right. This is €3? Get out. I'm not... Are you insane? $3 for Breath Weapon? That can't be right. Isn't this just like Draft Chaff? It's a common? It's right. Oh, this was only printed once. It's just a really, really niche card. It was only in a single set. Okay. I mean, obviously, Breath Weapon is not worth $3. That's insane. So we're getting rid of that. I guess it's just too expensive. That's just not. That is insane. Everything else here. We should probably also check for price. Yeah, I just honestly did not even consider that could possibly be that expensive. All right, on 4 mana. Crucible of Fire. Okay, okay. I got rid of it. Draconic Intervention. As an additional cost to cast the spell, exile an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Deals X damage, where X is the exiled card's mana value. This is ass. This is 4 mana, deal 4 damage to everything, right? So this gotta go. Hoarding Ogre, actually kind of okay, I think. Solemn, Territorial Hellkite. It's kind of a stupid beater a little bit, but that's okay. Anthrax Rampage. Destroy all artifacts you don't control and exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of artifacts that were put into graveyards from the battlefield this turn. You may put a creature card, exile this way onto the battlefield against haste. Return to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So I think this is fine. Do you guys like Anthrax Rampage? I don't think so. I think on 5 mana we have other things we want to do. But it does get rid of a lot of artifacts. Like, it just kind of nukes them down. Although, how many artifacts do you guys even still see? Like, I think it's kind of funny. I think I may have traumatized my playgroup a little bit by slamming Bane of Progress too many times. Because there's not that many artifacts anymore. People don't play that many artifacts. You just slam the Bane of Progress over and over and over again. Best card. The Scent of the Dragons. What's the Scent of the Dragons? Isn't this the new one? Ah, no, wait. Why would we want this? This destroys a bunch of stuff and then gives people 4/4 flyers. It's a cool card, but I think this is like a finisher you want to do on your things, right? You want to have a board full of 1/1 garbage and then destroy all of your 1/1 garbage and turn it into 4/4 dragons. Which is really cool. I really like that idea. But in our deck, we would just be turning our 5/5 dragons into 4/4 dragons, which is not an upgrade, right? That is worse. So, I'm not a big fan of that. Swap you to these. Incinerator, Scourge. A Warmonger, Hellkite. Yeah, I mean, okay, wait, we were on 5 actually. I'm gonna move this. Sorry, you're just probably not good enough. Hunted Dragon. This gives another player tokens. I think that's gonna be kind of difficult for a new player to really figure out what to do with that. So I'm gonna cut one of these dragons here. So I'm still fine with removing a few dragons here and there. Do we have Mana Pool? No, we don't actually have Mana Pool as a mechanic yet, do we? I think Mana Guys here needs to go for complexity's sake. Do we have anything else that just adds mana to our mana pool? No, right? This is not a mechanic. It's not a mechanic in the deck. Alright, let's get rid of Mana Guys here. We're down to 104. I would like to play Anger. I'm just gonna say we're gonna play Anger. So we're just gonna add an Anger. Give the dragons haste. Which of these is not good? I like Reign of Riches, but I think this is being too biased. Cascade is not actually a mechanic that really makes sense. We play a bunch of removal that we can't hit. That wouldn't be great. I think this is not a deck that's well laid out for Cascade. I think Reign of Riches, despite being fun, should go. I don't like that it introduces another new mechanic. It just introduces a new keyword in a way that I don't think is actually all that good. I think this one goes. It's kind of complicated. Don't like it very much. And here are all of our top-end dragons. That's fine. So we have 3 more cards that we want to cut. So we've kind of cut all of the immediately unnecessary things. We're still really heavy on ramp. Right? There's some ramp that is definitely questionable. 2 mana, 2 mana, 2 mana, 2 mana. Middling amounts of 3 mana and then quite heavy on 4. I think Sis-Ace Ring is probably just like not good enough. Is Sis-Ace Ring too bad? I think we have a lot of 2 mana ramp. But we don't have much else to do on 2 mana, do we? What are we doing on 2 mana? Really not very much. On 4 mana is where we can start doing like a few dragon things. We can start doing Unexpected Windfall and build up treasures, which is good. But on 2 mana, we're not really doing very much. 5 mana, yeah, this is where I kind of like this. So we definitely need to keep our card draw high. I think we can cut 1 more dragon if we really want to. I think Seize the Spoils is probably not good enough. Because it's on 3 mana, which is kind of an awkward number. If we keep the 2 mana ramp high. We can cut Seize the Spoils. I'm not huge on the Sis-Ace Ring. I just don't think it's that good of a card. And we could go down a land, but I really want to actually play 40 lands. I don't want to cut lands. What's our most expensive stuff that we've got left? Dragon Tempest. Slumbering Dragon, Ruby Medallion. I mean, I think the Slumbering Dragon is actually good. I would be unhappy to cut it. I think Orb of Dragonkind goes. This is a card that is better for experienced players than for newbies. Okay, we're at €50 budget. Can bring it to the tournament. Perfect. It's a deck. Mana values look decent. Very heavy on the 2 mana, but that's okay. We want to ramp into 3 and 4 mana. Okay. All right. I don't know if this makes, if this is any good. Just kind of like give it a little bit of a whirl here. Dragon's Horde. So this was a really shit start. Didn't do anything. It's nothing. Start over. Mountain. Alright, we have no play next turn, so Rens Resolve right now I think is fine. Okay. Now we play this at least, and then this guy's gone. And we're just kind of doing nothing the first couple of turns. Okay. Alright. Hoarding Ogre goes immediately. I think I want to add more 2 and 3 mana again. Think how many dragons do we have right now? 23. Territorial Hellkite can go. It's a bit of a complicated card anyways. Right, like that's like just kind of like a little bit unnecessary in what it does. We can add the Orb of Dragonkite again. And I would like maybe Seize the Spoils, actually. Okay. Kind of give this a couple of whirls, right? Do you guys do that? I mean, I always do this. I feel like everybody does this, right? It's just kind of like, see if any of this makes any sense. Play this in here, that's done. Reckless Impulse these. Okay. Can't play Demanding Dragon, but that's okay. We got the Dragon Speaker Shaman at least. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, in this Goldfish, we at least did something. That's what's important, right? It's that we're doing something. And once we're at this stage, honestly, like right now, we could slam Lathliss. I could play Drakusev. Like, we're doing stuff. Like, I could also just play Gauntlet of Power. Alright, the next turn we go 10 mana. This Endless Atlas is actually, like, kind of okay here because we draw cards really efficiently with this now. How much mana we got. I like these mana doublers a lot in this, actually. Alright, okay, turn 2, Orb of Dragonkind here. This thing is just kind of not super sick, to be honest. Cannon come in with this guy, we look at the top 6. Alright, we hit a dragon, but only one, so that's not great. Alright. Then we come in with this again. Well, actually, I can play for 5 the Glorybringer, and then we come in with this. Alright, here's another one of these. I just kind of want to see, like, how often do we hit a dragon? I mean, so far we haven't had any misses. So it seems like we're hitting dragons often enough that it's fine. There's also an argument to be made for some sort of, like, Dragon Goblin crossover deck, because there are some cards that have Dragon Goblin synergies. Yeah, I mean, again, we haven't actually missed one of these. Hello, please. Thank you. There we go. Why does it not do it? There we go. Yeah, I think it's good enough. I think we're always hitting something. The odds of not hitting are low enough. Alright, I mean, I can use the geometric hypercalculator really quick. Or hypergeometric calculator. Population size, let's say 90. Sample size 6. Successes in population 22. Let's round it. Let's say we have 2 in hand. Let's go down to 20. And we need 1. 78.9%. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, I think. If we go to 98 and we have 22 dragons, our chance 79%. That's good enough, I think. Like 80% or something to hit seems fine. So you just kind of play it a bit slower at first, but I mean, that's to be expected. Discard Anger, big value. Make a treasure, good. Dragon Sword. We can inspire Tinkering here. Or we can actually just start slamming dragons already. Just play this guy, make a treasure again. Then we slam Lathliss. I think it's good, honestly. Like, it feels alright now. It feels pretty good. I think it fits all of our criteria. So what did we set out as our criteria? What were we aiming to create? I wanted to create a simple to play deck that should be reasonably powerful. That also has very limited mechanics, and there are not that many different mechanics in this deck. No, they aren't. Right? Like there's really not that much in here. Yep. And the great thing about this deck, if you were to give this to somebody who's learning Magic, right? The great thing about this is it's cheap and it's really easy to upgrade. There are a lot of great dragons that we haven't included right now. That would be absolutely fantastic and would just make it stronger. Yeah. Okay. Also, now I can use this to see if I can upgrade Mickey's deck a little bit. Because now I spend a long time thinking about it, and I have some ideas on how to make it better. Although, if I were to cut this guy probably gonna go, the Slumbering Dragon. I mean, I guess sometimes you hit him on turn 1 and then he's sick, but I feel like oftentimes you're just not gonna, and then he's kind of not great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at how few... Wait, this deck only has 2 tokens. Oh, that's actually great. That's actually so good. The fact that this deck only has 2 tokens in it is perfect. The only thing I feel like we could argue is missing is some sort of protection. I mean, I guess we can add Swiftfoot Boots. I gotta be honest. I think Swiftfoot Boots are gonna be better than the Slumbering Dragon. So I'll take out the Slumbering Dragon, add in some Swiftfoot Boots. That saves some budget. And that's it. I'm gonna have the deck list? Sure, I mean, you can just... It's publicly available anyways, like it's just in my Mox field here. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with it. Now, did this make for a good stream? Absolutely not. Man, I don't know how to stream about Command. Ah! Oh, man. I mean, I had some fun. But it didn't have... I know this isn't ideal. Like, it's just way too specific. This is much more similar to work than it is to an entertaining stream. Alright, anyways. But yeah, I just slammed the Ruby Medallion here. Boom, boom. To be honest, here's big score, right? Big score time. Discard this. Draw 2. Add 2 treasure. Next turn. And we can already go into like this if we want to. But it's probably better to play this Inspired Tinkering. Because then I get another couple treasures. I can play these until my next turn. Play this. Slam 6. Play the Caged Sun. Now everything taps for double mana. Tap these for 6. Gilded Lotus. This for free. Got 1 left over. Play an Anger. Orb of Dragonkind. I mean, I guess this is actually fire. This is really good. This is a pretty neat deck. Pretty straightforward. Keeps it simple. Alright, friends. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. I'm still figuring out how to stream for Magic. I gotta be honest. I don't know what I'm doing. But what I am doing right now is I'm leaving. I figured out that much. All right. So yeah, we'll figure it out. We're working on it. It's all the work in progress. I'll see you guys. See you guys next week. I don't know when the next video is coming. It's coming whenever it's done. But I just kind of like want to do these streams here. Right? I'm trying to figure out what to do with these streams, but I want to do these streams here to basically be able to always touch base, if that makes sense. To always be able to say, hey guys, I am here. We're doing things. It just sometimes takes a little while. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I'll see you guys. Have a good